So I wanted to make another video a little bit more on footwear and how it affects the foot. So in our history, evolutionary history of humankind, mostly it was barefoot. So our feet evolved to walk barefoot. So in modern days, we're all in these shoes, which kind of act like casts around the foot. They constrict the toe movement, they constrict the foot, they offer an artificial arch rather than our natural arch, which is actually a shock absorber for the body. And basically, they can oftentimes interfere with the natural function of the foot. Then they replace it with their own, kind of you start with the heel and roll forward through. That's not natural gait, and that can lead to issues throughout the body, but particularly in the knees from the unnatural shock that's being administered to the knees. So how to address this? Basically, oftentimes our feet muscles, and you can feel them on the bottom of your feet, get atrophied. The ankle gets in poor alignment. You can sometimes get clicking and popping when you move your ankle through its natural range of motion. Overall, you can get issues like plantar fasciitis, you can get sprained ankles more easily, and so on. So it's not an ideal situation. The way to address it, as far as I've learned and as far as I've experienced, because I've suffered from plantar fasciitis in the past, is to get footwear that does not interfere with the natural function of the foot, or at least interferes minimally. You want a big toe box so your toes can flex and can spread out. They're not constricted and deactivated. Kind of like imagine that on your hands. If they're crunched all the time, you can't even use your fingers. So you want a big toe box. You want minimal or no heel lift, so that extra thing where your heel is higher than the front of your feet. That's not how barefoot is. And although it seems like a small deal, it does significantly shorten the calf muscle, which makes it shorter, tighter, and stronger, and deactivates the muscles in the front, the tibialis. So that's some factors to consider. Basically, it's a proprioceptive task as well. You just are aware of your feet, are they activated as they should be when I'm walking, when I'm standing, or are they just kind of stuffed in these shoes and forgotten about? It's hard for a little kid to become deactivated with his feet, but if you do it for decades, you can actually just forget about your feet and they become not really part of your body, except that they of course are, and develop all the problems associated with being neglected. So it's definitely important to focus on the feet. Get the right kind of footwear that doesn't mess with your natural, evolutionarily designed way the feet work, and basically take good care of your feet, because they're an important part of your body. They're what everything else is actually built on top of. I guess one last little note is an interesting thing on the foot. The natural gait for a foot is that you're kind of hit right here in the front of, so right on the mound of the big toe, and then you roll this way, and then you roll through. And this right here corresponds to your arch in your foot. Basically, your feet and your hands are basically the same limb, just a different version of each other. So the arch is actually a shock absorber, and that's what it's designed to do. It flexes down and then flexes up. And you find if you got atrophied foot muscles or no shock absorber or no more arch, then your shock absorption goes way down and you'll get knee issues and the like. So you want to train the bottom of your feet muscles, just kind of lift those arches up, crunch them up, and get them activated. Make sure that your toes aren't being interfered with, and your feet should stay healthy enough. Footwear can pretty much be pretty important in modern society. You can't be just walking around city streets in bare feet in general. So yeah, go and wear footwear, but just make sure that it's not screwing with your feet. Your feet can handle some abuse, but don't put them in a situation where it's hopeless or impossible for them. All right, and that is a little extra note on feet.